Hi guys, so I'm back to the forge again. I haven't actually I used this once, and it's been a year since I last used it. And the reason is that when I first used it, I completely underestimated the drying out process. So if you have a look, it basically cracked all the way down that side, and at least partly down well, all the way down, because actually it's jagged and it goes to the bottom. Which of course enraged me, so I didn't look at it for a year. So now I'm partially over that. I thought, well, fuck it. If it's screwed, then I may as well try and melt iron in it. Because that's the whole point of it in the first place. So if I'm going to rebuild it, I need to make sure it works. The heat engine's still fine. Obviously, it's exactly the same. So today I shall be attempting to melt these pump bases. I'm not too sure. I haven't actually got a magnet down here to hand, but I've stripped these down. And these are really light. I wonder whether these are aluminium cast. These are definitely iron. This is the inside of, it's basically the motor that slips out of the Grundfos, if you've never seen it before. That's actually the majority of the weight. That's why those heads are so fucking heavy. It's the magnets on it. But yeah, I'll probably strip that down and melt all the copper off for that at some point. So I'm going to pause it and then I will carry on once I've lit it up. I'm ready to light it up. Remember this from last time? Basically I'm going to put it on about 30%. It seems to be good lighting number. Probably too loud to hear me over there, so I'll just walk over here a sec, but even on 30% that sounds fucking mental. Right, so now I'm going to make a mould for the iron and wait for this to warm up, so I'm going to pause it again. I've made the mould for the metal, so basically I've just used normal sand, it's just a bit wet, and I've used an old paint can to make a hole in it. It's going to have sand in there, but this is just a test. So and I've borrowed the missus's cruet pot which she's gracefully gave them to me if I replace it for her. So I don't know if you can hear me or you can hear that rumble in the background, but that is bloody loud, and that's still on only 30%. So she'll ram it. Actually no, I'll load it before I turn it up, but I can do this without burning my camera. I don't know if you can make out the crucible in the bottom there. But, alright, I'm going to load it up and then I'll show it with it non-melted. Get one of those bases in at a time, so I'm not sure whether that's going to spill over, but I'll see. So now I'm going to whip it up to 100%. Actually, I'll do 70% first and then knock it up to 100 in a few minutes, just in case it. Right, it's probably going to make the cracks worse anyway. You see the flame poking out the top of that. I'm pretty sure I've got that on a low oxygen burn, which is what you want. You don't want too much oxygen in there because that fucks up the melts. I'm probably doing this all wrong anyway, but again, this is just a test, so I can't film down that hole now that fucking flame's coming out of it, so I'll pause it and hopefully it'll be melted the next time you see it. I'm just going to quickly show you guys what what it looks like after a few minutes. This is still on 70%. It's been like 5 minutes. It's fucking hot. Kettle's been in there about, I'd say probably about 10 minutes now. I haven't actually been timing it, but it's not far off that. All that, by the way, all that's smoke you can see, it's not smoke, it's steam. It's where it still hasn't dried out properly, so I'm expecting it to crack like fuck, but I've got to rebuild it anyway. So just in case you're wondering as well, the side of this is pretty bloody hot. This is freezing. It gets pretty bloody hot near the side there. I don't know if you can see, but it's actually sweating there. It's dripping down onto that. That's on 100% now as well, by the way. Doesn't really sound any louder to me. It seems to be so much of a difference between 70 and 100%. I doubt you're going to be able to see it, but something changed then. Hear something changing there. The thing inside still hasn't. It's red hot, the pump base, but it's not melted yet. I'm going to pause it again. Right, that's now so bright that I can't actually see into it anymore. So I've got to lift the lid to see whether or not it's melted. It's been approximately 30 minutes. Hold that open for it. I don't know if you saw the screen, but I probably didn't get it. But the pump base is basically partially melted. I'm pretty sure that'll be a puddle in a few minutes. So I'll pause it again and start in a sec. So that is what it currently looks like, which is just too bright. So, oh, there you go. You can see it bubbling away in there. Not really sure exactly how full that is. I had to turn down the fan speed to 30% because I just could not get my hands in. I actually set fire to the grip several times trying to get that balanced on the top. I hope that's not going to overflow, but I'm going to put the lid back on and hope for the best. Oh shit! So I don't know if you can see that. That's a 45-degree bend on that on that pipe, and it's completely burnt off at this point. Up to 100. See what happens. So this is some of the slag that I scraped off the top when I had it open last time. See, that's a magnet that I've got on there, and it is magnetic, so there is iron in there, but there's not much. You can easily, I mean, that should stick like shit, but it don't. It just barely sticks. So there's quite a lot of slag on the top of that. Also, the gas tank's frozen up where it's been on so long. So I think, I'm pretty sure that's ready to come out in a minute, so I'm going to stop this and then I'll try and video pouring it. That's it, basically done. See it boiling on the top. I just need to scrape it off now I can pour it. Slag in now, unfortunately. It's really difficult to get that out without getting slag in there. See, I'm not sure that that's getting, I mean, it's getting to a really hot temperature, obviously hot enough to melt iron or steel, but it's not getting quite above that, so it doesn't stay molten for very long. So for some reason it's molten when you got the lid on, and then when you take the lid off after a few seconds, you end up with a skim, which I thought was, and it starts bubbling up, which I'm thinking is slag, but I'm not 100% sure of that. I think it's just sort of cooling at the top. So actually I didn't get anywhere near the amount in there that I thought I was going to get, and there's still, that's a lot of slag I got off of it. And there's this ring as well. I don't know what this ring's from. It just didn't melt when it was in there. I think it's probably it must be the end of the pump, but anyway, I've stuck that thing back in there because I can't get the rest of the molten metal out, and I don't want it to set while it's in there, so that's going to take a fucking while to cool down. I don't want to splash water on it because it's going to go everywhere, so I'm going to pause it again. Right, I'm going to pour some water on this now to see what happens. Not as violent as I thought it was going to be. Bloody hot. You can see there's basically the concave at the bottom of the spray can that I used, so I actually do too bad a job of moulding that. Oh. Still too hot. Can't get this hot enough now to melt what's left in it. I think it's just practically slag in there anyway, but I'll show you in a sec. Leave that fan. Still quite a lot of stuff in there. All the coating I put on there has come off, but that's not surprising. So what I should have really done when I built this was, because it's heat resistant or absorbent concrete with like metal flakes in it. Then I painted it with something that withstands really high temperatures to protect the lining, but I didn't dry it out before I did that, so that sealed in all the moisture. I think basically you'd be looking at trying to dry this out over really a week or a fortnight, not a couple of hours. This is what I did really. Well, to be fair, I actually left it for a good week before I started burning in it, but with an electric heater in there, but it's just too much concrete in there to dry out like that. So let's see if this is handleable. It's pretty bloody hot. It's just see, that all looks like slag to me, but get a file and rub it down in a sec, see what it looks like. That's with it sanded down. Not that much obviously, but enough to see that it is metal and it's shiny if you compare it to the top. It's basically all pitted. I think this is where the oxygen hits it basically, because so I've run quite a lot of sandpaper over it and you can see all the small imperfections in it. This is the bottom, well the top, that was what was the top. But yeah, the end.